Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1968A, and today's date is September 12th, 2019, and the title of the episode is We Are Witnessing the Destruction of the Old Economic System and a Birth of a New One. Now, any way you look at it, the 45th president of the U.S. has made a massive impact on the world stage in 3 years he's been in office. He has bravely ventured into areas that presidents before him have shied away from. He has tackled Kim Jong-un on home territory. That's a first. He's taken on China in a trade war. That's a first. He recently offered to buy Greenland for the U.S. That's a first. And it's not just overseas. Here at home, there have been a few firsts. His ongoing battle to drain the swamp is still being fought. That's a first. His fight back on the Mueller report cleared him. That's a first. And Noble Gold put together their first. Their best-selling Trump 2020 Freedom Solid Silver Coin and United We Stand 10-ounce solid silver bullion bar together in one package at a special discounted price. This is our most popular combo ever, and you're getting 11 ounces of silver for an incredible low price. It's the perfect combination for a near-perfect president. Go to TrumpCoin2020.com and use the code X22Report25, and you'll save $25 on this incredible package. With the price of silver skyrocketing over the last 90 days, this is a can't-miss offer. So click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, what Trump and the Patriots are doing, they are building a brand new economic system, not just here in the United States, but with other countries around the world. Why do you think Trump and the Patriots have been making bilateral free trade agreements with different countries? Why do you think he reached out to Boris Johnson and said, listen, you have the Brexit on October 31st. We will make an interim deal. Everyone will have to go through you to get to the United States. You can bypass the EU. Why do you think Trump made a deal with Japan, made a deal with Taiwan, which we'll be talking about, made a deal, or is going to make a deal, with China, most likely soon with Russia? Why do you think Trump is doing this? Remember what the central bankers have done. They've created a globalist system. They had the World Trade Organization. All trade went through them. Trump is building this new economy outside of their control. This is being done on purpose. Think about it. When Boris Johnson has the Brexit and the UK has a trade deal with the US, where does it leave the EU? Out in the cold. Now let's say Italy says, you know something? We like this. Trump, let's make a trade deal. We're not going to go through the EU. Let's have it completely separate and apart. What happens to the central bank system? It falls apart. That's why he's doing this. He's creating a system outside of the central bank system. Remember, the central bank's plan, and this has been a plan for a very long time, was to have a one world currency, to have full control over everything. This was actually discussed at the G7. They discussed having a one world virtual currency. And it wasn't going to be pegged to anything. They were talking about controlling fiscal policy, not just the creation of currency, but controlling what each and every government will do with that money. Think about this. They tried to do this with the TPP. It failed. But what we see happening here is that as Trump continually turns the screws, the deep state, the central bankers, they're becoming desperate. They're scared. They're panicking. And when these individuals become afraid, what happens? They start to reveal their true plan. This is what we've been seeing with the deep state. Think about when Trump brought up the border. They fought against it. And they showed their true colors and what they were really trying to do. They didn't care about the gangs coming in, the human traffickers. It's the same thing with the central bankers. They're being exposed. They realize what Trump is doing, and they're trying to stop it. What do they do to stop it? They reveal their true plans. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer a conspiracy. And that is exactly what they're doing right now. Trump right now, he is removing the old economic system, getting rid of it, and a new economic system is being born. And we can see that this is happening not just here in the U.S., but around the world. And I believe there's a lot more people following him, and I'm talking about leaders, than we actually know about. They're not coming out and saying it right out to the public. Eventually, they will. But Boris Johnson, he is fighting a good fight. Now, what's very interesting, it seems that the deep state, the mainstream media, they're doing the same thing to Boris Johnson as they've been doing to Trump. The report has come out that Boris Johnson lied to Queen Elizabeth II about suspending Parliament. Now, Boris Johnson is saying this is absolutely fake, phony, and false. I did not lie to her. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to show that he lied to get his way. Isn't this what they do with Trump? Remember, it's the same players. Now, the highest civil court in Scotland ruled that this advice and the suspension were unlawful because it was clearly designed to stymie parliamentary scrutiny of the government. The court ruled that the true motive for suspending Parliament was not as Johnson told the Queen. Johnson said that is not true. The Prime Minister noted that a parallel court case was rejected by England's High Court. This and the Scottish case will be heard in the UK Supreme Court this week. And we can see that they're trying everything to shut him down because they know he will succeed. Now, Trump is continually pointing the finger at the Fed that we need stimulus. We need to cut rates. Why do we need this? When Trump brings the interest rate to zero or negative, well, there's no interest on the national debt. The payments go way down. We don't need as many tax receipts to pay the debt. We can shift them to other places. If it goes to negative, guess what? That's even better. It also makes the Fed obsolete because they're not loaning currency with interest attached. Trump is doing everything he possibly can to get the Fed on board. Now remember, this is part of the show because the Fed has to look independent. Trump tweeted out the following: European Central Bank acting quickly, cut rates 10 basis points. They are trying and succeeding in depreciating the euro against the very strong dollar, hurting U.S. exports. And the Fed sits and sits and sits. They get paid to borrow money while we are paying interest. And he's telling the Fed, you need to do something. And I do believe the Fed, they are going to make a move. We already know they started to buy bonds. We already know behind the scenes they're pushing stimulus. They've already cut interest rates by 1/4 point. Another one is coming. And once the ECB announced QE, gold started to move up. Yes, it went back down, but you can see that the people out there, they're starting to realize what is going on. And gold is definitely going to make moves. Like I've said before, watch gold. It is the indicator letting us know what is about to happen. When you see gold moving up, not by $20, not by $30, not by $50, when you start to see it moving up by 100 or 150 or 200, that's a sign that people are starting to catch on. Gold right now is above 1,500. And it's going to continually move higher and higher and higher. Now, Trump, he has decided to delay the China tariffs until October 15th. And he did this because he's willing to work with China, and China now is willing to work with him. Now, amid new reports of U.S. companies initiating a rapid exodus from China, Trump has announced the delay of the next round of tariff increases on Chinese goods from October 1st to October 15th. He tweeted out the following: "At the request of Vice Premier of China, Liu He, and due to the fact that the People's Republic of China will be celebrating their 70th anniversary on October 1st, we have agreed as a gesture of goodwill to move the increased tariffs on $250 billion worth of goods, 25 to 30% from October 1st to October 15th. And we need to remember, to have a negotiation, it's a give and take thing. You just can't be black and white. You have to look at the gray areas. And Trump is looking at the gray areas, saying, listen, I understand, we can adjust, no problem, but you need to give us something in return. And I do believe that China, well, they're feeling it. And we also know that part of the plan is to have companies move out of China into maybe other countries that Trump has already made deals with, or back to the U.S. It'd be better if they move back to the U.S., but remember, there's a lot of regulations, a lot of taxes. Trump has to tackle a lot of this to have more of the companies move back here into the United States. And what's very interesting is that a lot of companies, they are redirecting their investments, and their destination is no longer China, and they're investing in other countries or back here into the United States. Now, Beijing said, listen, we will go ahead and start to purchase agricultural products from the United States. Now, as we can see, they're both trying to work out this deal, and it's a give and take type of thing. So Beijing is considering whether to permit imports of American agricultural products, including soybeans and pork. And this would again alleviate the trade tensions. And I think Trump he will be making headway, and he will be making a deal. Trump tweeted out the following: "It is expected that China will be buying large amounts of our agricultural products. We also have Taiwan. They have announced plans to buy $3.6 billion worth of American farm products, including soybeans, corn, wheat, and meat products." And this follows Beijing saying, okay, we will also purchase. So Trump is making deals with many countries, bypassing the globalist system, creating his own system. Why is he doing this? He has to. For the United States to be independent, for the United States to drop the reserve currency, what does Trump have to do? Well, he needs to set up trade deals, because countries who kept dollars in their reserves to pay for oil or to pay for other products, they won't have the dollar in the reserves if the United States is no longer, the Federal Reserve note is no longer the reserve currency. So then they're going to be using their own currency to purchase goods. So Trump needs to set up trade deals that have nothing to do with the reserve currency. What else does Trump have to do? Well, he also has to make sure that we're energy independent. And I'm not talking about the Green Deal. I'm talking about oil. Because once we are no longer the reserve currency, once we come off of the petrodollar, the oil in the Middle East will no longer be purchased using the Federal Reserve note, which means we need to produce oil to sell it to other countries and to have it for the United States. And what we've just found out is that the U.S. has surpassed Saudi Arabia, Russia, to become the world's top oil exporter. And how did this happen? This is from record shale production. The U.S. shipped nearly 9 million barrels of crude and other oil products a day in June, surpassing Saudi Arabia and Russia. And the U.S. had to do this. And since 2010, moving forward, oil production here in the United States has been booming. And when we look at 2016 going all the way to 2018, 2019, we hit that mark where we're with other countries, which means the transition is getting closer and closer, which means that as Trump continually creates these free trade deals, as the U.S. becomes energy independent, Trump and the Patriots will have the ability to remove the central bank, to remove the Federal Reserve note, and bring us off of the petrodollar system and bring us to a sound money system. This whole project wasn't as simple as just saying, okay, let's go back to the gold standard. There are many different things that had to be done in advance. And this is what Trump has been working on. We need to sell products. We need to export. We need manufacturing. We need companies here in the United States. We need to be energy independent. We need to have trade deals with other countries because they will not be using the Federal Reserve note to purchase our products here. We're going to have some type of trade with these countries. And this is why Trump has been doing this in the 3 years that he's been in office. Remember, the deep state, the central bankers, had many, many years to shift everything. He's shifting everything back in a very short period of time, and he has a lot more to go, but we're getting closer and closer. And as you can see, the transition is on its way. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.